Hi, I'm the Dreaded Geek. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a very short review of a brand new game that's come out via Kickstarter. Now, yes, it's a brand new game that's come out via Kickstarter, and that would usually be enough for me to do an unboxing, but there's not much point in doing an unboxing because we're looking at that. This is Province, a micro game. That's it. That would have been my unboxing video complete. So let's talk a little bit about the game. Province is a worker placement game with a twist. Instead of placing workers, workers are positioned on the board in one of these three locations. At the start of the game, only the three green workers are down, and all players have access to the green workers. During the game, you can build buildings that give you access to specialty workers that not all the players have access to, and you can recruit your own workers in one or the other color that only you have access to, that your opponent can never use. During your turn, you move whatever workers you have access to around this circle. So if I was to move that worker and that worker, I would get 1 labor for moving a worker there, and 1 coin for moving a worker there. A coin token, and I would count 1 labor onto the track here. 1 labor and 1 coin is not enough to do anything, so I'll move the third of the general laborers, get a general workers, get a second labor, and then use this general activity that's available to all players at all time called grinding to use 2 labor to generate another coin. And that's the end of my first turn. Flip all the laborers. Workers, laborers. I'm just going to call them laborers from now on because that seems to be the word that's stuck in my head. Flip them all back the right way up, and it's the next player's turn. Once I'm generating sufficient coin and labor, I start building buildings. The cost for each building is here on the side of the board, and if I, as the red player, build a building, I put one of these tokens next to it. And that gives me the access to the special action that that particular building allows. Those actions all generate more labor or more coins, and therefore allow me to build buildings faster. Also, building a building first gives me the victory points, which are listed here, for building each one. If the blue player later builds a camp, they also get access to the camp action, which in this instance is another worker, but they don't get the victory points for having built it. That goes only to the first builder. The game is complete once all the buildings have been built, or once one player has used all 7 of their building tokens. Once one of those actions has been completed, that's the end of the game, and the player with the most victory points has won. There's one extra twist to it. These missions, 5 of them are selected at random, and only 1 at a time is available to be completed. So we might be looking at a situation like this. This victory point token goes to, the icons are really, really small, but goes to the first player who turns 4 labor into 2 coins, which is to do that grind action twice. The first player who gets to do that twice in 1 turn takes that victory token, which is worth 1 victory point at the end of the game, and flips up the next mission. In this instance, it's the generate 5 coin mission. So, as I say, you play until all the buildings have been built by somebody, or one person's built 7 of the buildings and therefore used all of their building tokens. Then you count the victory tokens at the end of the game. It seems quite simple, but the beautiful thing about this game is its strategy. For such a simple set of rules and for such a simple gameplay, let's even just take the very first move of the game. The most I can generate is what I showed before. I move all 3 people, I generate 2 labor and 1 coin, and then I spend my 2 labor for 1 coin. But doing that gives my opponent exactly the same opportunity I had, and doesn't open a gap between us, therefore doesn't do me, in the long run, any net good. If I do that, I generate 1 coin. Whether I do that or not, I can't use any labor I generate, but although I've done less with my turn, I've denied my opponent access to any coins. They can only use 2 labor to generate a coin, and then the next turn, I get to generate 2 coins and still deny them access directly to any coins. And now I start to build a lead. So it's all about managing where those pieces sit on the board and the interplay between them. Once I've built the camp, I then have an extra laborer that I can use to generate whatever I like, and I can move them relatively freely. Then if my opponent builds the camp as well, they also have access to that laborer, and now there's 4 shared laborers where managing their position on the board is as important as managing the resources that they can get from me each turn. Once I've built the harbor, I can start hiring my own laborers, and then those are uniquely mine. Then I position those on the board wherever I want them so that I can generate more labor in 1 turn. Coin, although you can keep coin from 1 turn to the next. If I generate 2 coin and I don't spend it, I'm good. I can keep those 2 coin and use them later. If I generate 3 labor, for example, I can use 2 to generate an extra coin, but there's nothing I can use 1 labor on, so that 1 labor is wasted at the end of my turn. So making sure you always have access to an even number of labor if you're going to be spending it on grinding, or the right number of labor in order to build the buildings you're building, and denying your opponent access to the resources they need to build the things they need to build are much more integral to the game than just trying to generate as much of the resources you can so that you can build what you need to build. Overall, for such a small game, for such a simple game, I'm really impressed with the depth of strategy involved. One more tip to anybody who's bought this game or who's planning on buying this game. These 2 pieces of cardboard that make up the labor tracker come separately, and the idea is just to put one on top of the other and turn it. Putting a pin through the middle of this and some duct tape over the back made this infinitely more useful, and it's made it hold together that much better in the bag. It's a quick and easy trick that I highly recommend it to anybody who buys this game. And that was a review of Province, a micro mini game from Laboratory.
And I am the dreaded geek. Thanks for watching.